I just thought this is inspired by some bloke that I seen on Facebook because he said he went and joined some army and then he discharged himself by saying he was a danger to himself and ended up having a whale of a time all over Europe. And he looked like he's having a great time. And then he went home to his parents and then he's in the mental health system now and he's quite funny anyway. He's making little sketches from his place. God, apparently you're not allowed to leave the ward and get yourself a vodka, whatever. Anyway, the point is, I thought I'd make this video because I'm aware of what this country is and what this country isn't, and it's a very abusive place in places. Make no mistake, right? You're looking at somebody that used to work at the O2, Operations Security Supervisor, studied at Ravensbourne, been around the block a few times. I mean, literally did a decade in film. And it's like, I think it's something to do with councils as well. It's like certain boroughs, certain demographics. It's like my mum, her auntie and my nan used to live at Coltman House, you know, where the Cutty Sark boat is. There's a block of flats on the left. Pretty iconic, really, when you look at it. And pretty, is it kind of reminiscent of the whole of Great Britain sort of thing? You've got your council places and whatever. And then it's like my mum bettered herself by marrying and they got a house. Obviously, they got their own property and went up in the world a little bit. And then, for some strange reason, these monster type mothers go, get yourself a council flat. Straight away they start going saying stuff like that. If you want to go out, you get yourself a place, right? And you go, okay. Right, they start getting on your case, back monkey, the minute you're out of school, sort of thing. So it's like, if you go to university, I didn't really want to go to university. I did have access to theatre course, but I didn't want to behave like a ape around and shit when I was 19. I was like, didn't I do enough of that at primary school, you bunch of... They're weird, aren't they, really? When you look at it, it's like you're on a loosh farm that's training you up to get a job. But at primary school, from ages 3 to 11, you're being a monkey, being a tree, being Rama and Zeta, learning about world religions, and it's very circular. It was very hippie based, and when you look at it, you sort of have revelations. You go, "What a bunch of hippies!" Because my parents are really straight laced, like "Don't touch a spliff," and it's very sterile. And I'd say that they were like a nuclear fallout family in that respect because they do just stare at that goggle box. And it's like Simpsons, and you know, when you look at America, apparently all the people that do the Simpsons microdose on like mushrooms and stuff, so they're sort of trippy reality to some degrees. What's coming through the main on some levels. Anyway, they're very square, and so it's like you're not really prepared for the real world, are you? Because like outside your four walls, if you're the sort of persons that are conformists and say don't touch drugs, don't ever touch this, you're really fucking your child over in the biggest way. I mean, when you look at sort of a good idea, obviously, is like making content about it, like fresh meat. Watched that the other day, binge watched it on, and I was like, oh, it's well long overdue that particular series. But it's like you feel like you're predominantly just like a programmed in your informative years rather than actually living in your informative years because you're too sheltered. And it's like the only other families, you know, are exactly the same. Like my mum's best friend was Cockatons in Thamesmead, and they were pretty much straight laced as well in that respect. But they come from a landlordy family, which is obviously they had pubs in Bermondsey, and obviously that was straightly laced as well, really, because around pubs you're keeping people out that smoke weed and do that stuff because they used to deal drugs and crack, so you keep it straight laced. So it's sort of like an institution, isn't it, of straight lacediness and grooming a certain headset. But when you live in London, outside those four walls, they're all spliffs and it's all drugs and it's all... Some people, if I walk around, I've had like people just hand me their dealer cards just in most parts of town. And like in Shoreditch, I've had it happen. I've had it everywhere. People just give you their card. You're like, oh, cheers. Because ultimately, everybody does drugs from Sidcup to here to the venue. And the first time you ever go clubbing, people are just like, do you want to buy some coke and whatever? It's just like normalised. And also around New Cross, noted. Police presence is everywhere. I mean, off duty, on duty. If they're in a part of the area where they can just actually clock people and be part of the furniture, that's seemingly I think what they are. So they get to know faces probably from the, and you don't know who's who and who's watching you as a 19, 20-year-old playing pool in your first time you've ever been to the venue and someone's giving you half a pill. You're like, they probably know you from then, like certain elements. So probably, like, I just become aware that that's the case. It's like you're walking around in your bubble, but you don't actually know what's what and what's and what's. And the point of this video is my parents, my mum, put a lot of pressure on. So it's like she calls me now even like, oh worry, you need to be in, you can't, it have to be curfew. And I did have my own place. But the point is, this is a message to parents alike. You drive your kids into the arms of the first person that they meet. It's like a nightmare scenario. And it's like you look back at it and it's not until you're therapized and coaches and you got all these gurus. You fuck your own path because you're putting all this pressure on a child. Can't even go out. I used to work as a theatre usher, Greenwich Theatre. Can't even have a pint after work with your friends and colleagues. And if you put too much pressure on someone, suffocate them, you just run to the first person's arms you meet, and you end up like staying in shitty parts of town that were shitty, as they call it, it used to be called Crackford. Now, if you say that to somebody like in Greenwich now, like, oh, I work for the council, it's not, it's a lovely place. It's like maybe to you it was, but when I was there, it was Crackford, and I'd put on Nigerian voices and be shouting to stop the crackheads that used to come into the block shitting up against the wall human feces. I mean, Crackford. And it's like, so anyway, this person I met, I was like, get out of here, get out of this place, get into a new place. And I was nothing but good to this person. And I was like, get out of here, encouraged her to get out, and took her on holidays all over. And kind of just totally nothing but regret it now. It's like that person bit me in the arse over a decade later as somebody that's older than me by at least a decade. I was just yum dumb, fresh meat, never touched anything substance wise, didn't know what somebody on crack might behave like or anything. And it's like your first impressions when you walk in someone's flat, it's like, no, I don't actually fancy this person. I might want to on a date, but this reminds me of a crack flat. I think I'll leave this one. That's how I felt about it. And then it's like if someone then sort of kind of forced themselves on me as a forced themselves, and it's like if there's crack pheromones in somebody that come through somebody and it's your first experience, you might find yourself just being that dumb, fresh meat that is addicted to both pheromones and inadvertently crack coming through someone's body. And you don't know why you're even in it because if you can't trust someone, you can't actually really come. And then you think, oh my God, there must be something wrong with me. So that's what sometimes a first relationship can be like. I'm just brutally honest. Anyway, the point is council flats and people around you, and you're sometimes not being aware that there's money around certain individuals. Like, for example, having a arts council above every lesson as a primary school child from 3 to 11, they did some weird shit. And I was always getting lines and I was always being told off and I was always just like basically an introverted, quite shy person and I only had the one friend. And they basically took me at the age of 10 and put me in a different class just because I used to talk to this one person and distract them. And I'm sure there's a better way around doing that because you were in a class of people that still were your peers. You still admired and looked around and knew your classmates. It's not like I was just too sort of shy. I won't lie, I was just a shy person. So you have one friend and that's it. And then it's like, and he'll put you in a different class. And I thought that was really brutal. But the point is, it's like test subjects and loose farms, and do they have certain treatments for some people, right? Do they? Is there money invested? Is there parties? That's what I sort of started to sense on my journey. And you go, there were the unnatural circumstances to put people through certain things. And my mum was like, anyway, I had my own place after this relationship and other things, I ended up getting a council place for a bit of peace of mind. It was around the corner. I took a place around the corner for my parents because I thought it'd be handy. But it wasn't really. It didn't even have a shower. And it was more like they called it sheltered accommodation. I thought that's a bit strange a place to be staying in, actually. It's a bit weird. And it's like literally 1 year I went to all these festivals and I only stayed there for like a couple 2 days and I got a noise complaint just because I had people there talking. Just because there were people talking. It wasn't excessive noise or anything. And you go, I can't live under these conditions. I'm not even bothered about this place. It's a place that is not like that. Great, it's quiet, it's peaceful, but that's it. But it's more suited to like a 90-year-old. Let's be honest, it even had pull cords in the rooms. So I was at a bit of a loss as to why I was even there in the first place, really. And I stayed there for 2 years with somebody like they only used it for about 2 years actually properly because somebody else needed it, and I stayed there. And then I let somebody else stay there for a little while because I just didn't want to stay there because something happened. And you say, well, I think that that place is actually the least sheltered place going, and it's actually a place where you get targeted. And I could go on and on about why that is not a place that I would stay as a lone woman, because it's the total opposite of being sheltered. Because when I was on a break from the person when I was staying there, I did my first sort of like, oh, I'm putting on actual music tracks and singing Dolly Parton songs, and actually got my own spot in a pub. And I was like, the first time I went there, it's like these people will just come in, and what are the odds of this? They're all a bunch of people doing MD and drugs, you know? And you're like, okay, Mandy, look, there's people all around on Mandy. And I thought that's a bit of a coincidence because there was hardly anyone in there. And I thought that's strange. And they said, oh, have we got a party going on downstairs, just around the corner? It's around the corner. Do you want to come with us? And I was like, okay. Anyway, it happened to be in the same block. So I know it was a compromised building. I know that it's sort of like as good as basically it's as good as like the squat culture, like the BBC that take over the hive buildings and whatever. I know who's who. I know that there's something like very linked in about people and artists and certain entities around this town. And it's like, okay, right, Rainbow Bridge, whatever the fuck. I'm like, okay. Anyway, I know that my phone had 111 as the lock on it at the time, and I know that someone clocked me do it. And I put the phone was sitting next to me. They said, "Oh, get your guitar and come down and entertain us." So I went upstairs and we got the guitar. Went downstairs, met the neighbour for the first time anyway, and my phone went missing, and it was there, and then it was gone. I was like, "Oh right, okay." Anyway, I was having conniption fits about it, but these people just wanted to get up in my business and wanted to go through my phone and rifle through my messages. That's what they did, right? And I'm like, okay. Anyway, it got returned and put in my letterbox once the battery had died. And then at the time, my partner come back, and then it was like I said, yeah, that was well, Doddy. There was people and MD, and then some bloke broke my tit. Oh, really? I said, yeah, actually, I was just sleeping on my couch upstairs, and then they were up there, and then it was like, and she goes, let me meet these people. I said, yeah, by all means. I didn't do anything behind your back, and she obviously must have had a guilt complex, so she must have done something behind my back whilst she was on her break, because she had done a lot of codeine and painkillers and decided to copy the tattoo that I'd given myself and sort of like basically it into her own fucking leg. And I was like, oh, that must have been a guilt thing in hindsight. And anyway, the people downstairs had been through my phone and they were like, oh, the way you're talking. Yeah, yeah, blah, blah, blah. It was like you could tell that she had been through my fucking messages because she was having all these weird opinions about relationships. And in hindsight, I just know that they're all LinkedIn people. And it's like, okay, who actually was that person I met on that beachfront? Who are they? And why are they all up in your business like they think they're organised people? I think it still carries on to this day, the unnatural, weird fucking nature of it. So I met someone just before this year, and then it was even weirder. I won't even go into details about what the fuck that was. But anyway, around there, the corner, flats where I was, again, I was trying to get on stage venues, and as I'm coming home as a lone woman after we split up, and it's hard enough splitting up with people, it's hard enough trying to take yourself to places and do things. So, like, I ended up totally falling out of love with people. I won't even lie, South East London's music venues, scenes, and the way they are is absolutely atrocious. Fucking more upon drugs, and it's like, no, there isn't any law. Like, and then it's the irony that the police then compound all your issues with your community because it's such an atrocious, unhelpful, not very facilitative place. So you go into town because you see a unity march on Facebook. and you've been to the festival fields and there's got a lot of the green gathering people, and you go, well, it's a chance to make new friends and whatever, so I'll go to that Unity March. Never seen the Anonymous film anyway, so I'm up there and I just filmed it, and everyone's dancing to drum and bass. And then anyway, this policeman starts following me along the road, harassing me at the end of it, and he's like, how do you fancy spending the night in the cell? Get over to that side of the road. I just turned around and snapped verbally. And so ended up being put in a cage for an hour and a half, and I had a yellow high vis coat, which was very heavy, and a bag on my arms. So they cuffed me from behind, and it was hanging, cutting into my wrists for an hour and a half, and they knew about it, and they just ignored it. So it just, if I wasn't out of love with people then, it was like, I've just seen the most ugly side of humanity going just to listen to a girl in pain and ignore it. So anyway, the doctor took pictures of it and said, yeah, I can see that there's obviously, it's still there. They get off on it. There are sadistic people in this world, make no bones about it. Anyway, the girl that lived with me at my flat was one of these people that goes to sex clubs and makes rubber clothing, and is very much tapped into that market, like likes it. And it's like, okay, right. I went and I just wore my bouncer uniform and walked around. Basically, I wasn't really into doing anything like that there, for the record, for the most part, when I was with her. And it was like, anyway, that place, after coming in from one of these atrocious pubs, after clearly being targeted and followed home, and coming in at exactly the same time, just after meeting that neighbour, as I'm walking through the door, tipsy, drunk, vulnerable as you are, oh, would you like a nightcap? As he's walking in the door, because it was literally as you're walking through the door, the timing was just what it was. Yeah. Anyway, oh, would you like a drop of this in it? It'll make you feel very euphoric. See that little skank that you lived around the corner with me? I don't like her. I mean, you're allowed not to like your exes and just go, I don't actually want to ever see that again because I know what kind of person she is. All up in your business. Probably talks to people all over the net about you. Probably a little bit obsessive type, really. And then it's the irony is that you'd be fucking targeted or told, like, I'm anything like that. And it's like having a party, ruining your life, basically. You get with some relationships, some women do ruin your life. I can hold my hand up and say, yes, probably the first one that ruins your life is your mother, with their OCD mental ways suffocating you. So you're driving into the hands of an older woman that is going to ruin your life down the track 10 years later. And you're like, who's doing this? Like, what society is actually trying to drive you over the edge and send you mental, with people outside pubs screaming their bollocks off a decade after it's over, long over, at least, who's nice as pie to you on the street when you see her on her own, but outside the bird's nest, let's be, oh, you bollocks, you can't, you fucking cheating on me. But it's like, what is she fucking on this? Nothing but fucking good to this person. Probably used to blow all her money, probably on crack. I just didn't know what actual crack was. Why are you always broke every time you get paid? I was in the Weatherspoon spending all my money on everyone. Fuck off. Probably doing crack. You're like, in hindsight, it's like, the penny drops, but it takes a long time. And why have I never seen a wage check? You say you're working at the Ladywell? Are you? I've never seen a wage check. Okay. You go to college? I waited outside the college a couple of times just to see if she come out of it. She never come out of the college. Did she ever go to college? Did she even ever work at the Ladywell? You tell me. Answers on a postcard. Anyway, decade later down the track, she's shouting outside this pub. And then she's in a place called the Black Swan pub. They say, would you like to come and do some karaoke? The shysters that are probably all linked in with a certain ganglandy kind of element that I actually despise. I say, there's not, you say, oh, forgiveness is all. Yeah, okay, I forgive everything. I don't give a shit, right? Get on with your life. I have no, harbour no ill will. But they harboured ill will against me. And I'm thinking, don't I actually do anything? Let me figure this one out. Anyway, she walks up and she snatches the mic out of my hand. I'm thinking, this Irish woman is a piece of work, isn't it? Did I not take you here and there and everywhere else? Yeah, sure. We argued half of the way around the West Coast, and it was the worst move ever taking you there. But it was like the only time I had a captive audience to get to the bottom of why you were such a person that never dealt in straightforward honesty and truth. Like, you're just like, your mind's boggling, and someone's actually just ruining your mental health, and you're in it as a young person because you don't know any different. And I said, if that woman actually knocked all your teeth out of your head, your first girlfriend, why is she screaming through the letterbox? Why does she think she could come to your house if she knocked all your teeth out? She would say things like that. So I was like with her on false pretenses because that girl answers on a postcard. Did somebody called Ruth knock all her teeth out of her head? I don't know, but it will get you the pity vote, and you might be in a relationship just to treat someone nicer because they're full of shit. And anyway, even nightmarish more. She gives her a kitten that then gets fleas that then infest the whole flat. So we had her living here while they bombed the place with bug bomb things. And if you could imagine hell on earth, it was. And I'm like, did somebody engineer this hell on earth? Like, when you just actually feel cursed because somebody's actually putting all this pressure on you, you end up with somebody else that is actually a nightmare, but still, at least you can go out and have a pint after work and you're not being harassed by somebody else. But on the other hand, I don't even know where she is and she keeps going missing for days. And so you're just like this dog looking out the window going, where is she? Anyway, once she moved to the new place, that was it, done. The first time it happened, something snapped and I just left a note on the table, 80 quid on the table, did the shopping and walked out. And funny enough, she never even called me. That's a strange way to end a relationship, isn't it? She might have been gone, see, for 2 weeks or something. I don't know, but I didn't look back. But she was ruining my life 10 years down the track. Snatching mics and screaming her bollocks off. So yeah, that's the beauty and the truth of that one. And I can't think of a worse person. All right, my younger self might have been had a few issues. Like I saw a video on YouTube the other day, and there was this girl in my flat when I was a lot older, my own flat, and she's going, oh, how does it work though with women, like in relationships? How does it work? And I'm like, are you for real? And I was a bit like rude and just be like, for real. And it's like I don't suffer fools. I went through a stage of not suffering fools gladly, put it that way. And there was a lot of fools, and they took me for a fool. And people that knew that first person were later introduced to me down the track. And no offense to certain people that are in the limelight, but I don't follow because you equal reminders of people that are not of my caliber. Sorry, they're not of my caliber. I would never treat people like that. I am the person that is decent here, and those people were actually really atrocious towards me. They fucking violated my boundaries. They did all sorts of manner of stuff, and that flat wasn't in use for a while because I got fucking traumatized coming back from the bird's nest when some skank walked in, some drug dealer. Don't even give a fuck. Nobody gives a fuck about drug dealing. You can talk openly these days, can't you? But anyway, gave me something and I passed out, and I don't even know how long I was passed out for. So there is a very, like, a culture around that place as well. And I did pass out on another a couple of occasions with other skanks, and those women then started throwing the mud and go, oh yeah. And then, ironically, the first day on the job, this security woman turned up and said, you don't look very happy, you need to leave. The reason I was asked to leave is because the dirty, skanky, horrible nature of that punk pub, and if they can get at women, they will. If they can get away with it, they will. Okay, that's exactly what went down. So I don't know if it's like film world immersed or whether it's BBC immersed, but you're fresh meat and they just walk all over you and take the Michael and do as much as they can in ruin and rot. Yep, that's the nature of Southeast London. And so anytime people come in from Southeast London on the screen or the radio, it's just like Nightmaresville. It's like, okay, hell on earth, turn that off now. I don't follow the people I used to once follow because as far as I'm concerned, your early work was representative of you. Sort of like Gippo, words in the gypsy's teacup stuff. Okay, you're inspiring. It's like dangling a little carrot. Oh, I'll follow you down that path and I'll write scripts myself. But that's the way to get on, is write your own scripts and have your own stage and do your own thing. Yay, I'll do that. Thanks for the inspiration. Inspire to inspire. But as far as I can tell, you're just perpetuating some sort of bullshit that is unrealistic these days, because there is no other Shakespeare. There will never be another Shakespeare. There will just be ghost written people that are giving you false proclamations of how wonderful. You're a Southeast London person that's younger than myself that probably doesn't even have as much immersive experience within other cultural ideas. And so when you come on the radio, as much as I used to actually idolise the ground you walk on, now I don't, because you equal a whole bunch of shysters in the wrong direction. You were supposed to be the peer that was supposed to recognise the talent, that was supposed to betterment herself and remove herself from a shithole area. But you inadvertently were responsible for one's downfall too, because I followed the supposed class and met nothing but mulka creepy shitbag fuckers that are trying to coerce you into hanging out with them, like that I would ever want to be part of their clique in the first place. Fuck off, piss off. I woke up. It takes a while. You just have to do certain substances, meet certain people, and I feel no way about it. I don't like any single. Don't like that one. Don't like that one. Don't like that. Don't like any of them now. Funny, isn't it? At the time, you're like, oh, acceptance is all important. I have to feel comfortable in the stage pub and get up and get on. Now, I wouldn't go there with a barge pole. It's funny, isn't it? It's just like, wow, my true worth. But the fact that somebody that's so idolised was using and frequenting it is just beyond me. Mind boggles now. So anyway, New Cross and its people and its peers and its stuff, and it's like BBC fronting people, and it's like, no offence, like when I was back there, I was worthy. In 2012, when I first started off on my journey off of Town Centre Warden, Two Fields, I was worthy. In 2014, I was more than worthy. 2016, even worthier. 2018, even worthier. But it's gangland, clicky fucking bullshit. It's like you go Weatherspoons in Greenwich. You lose two family members. They serve you for 13 hours. The security turn up, who also can be drafted in, by the way, from a bird's nest, from a place, outfits, and then provoke you. So you tip a table by all account. Can't remember because you're blackout drunk. Just tip the table. But they hold it against you for a decade. What a bunch of assholes. What a bunch of assholes. Do I even give a fuck anymore? No, couldn't give a fuck about it. It's like, I should have been glorified by Film World and the people that I invested my time in. That pencils ruined my life when I went to Glastonbury because I should have just taken the shifts with Kingfisher, but instead I took the pencil. But that's all they do. They just try to drive you over the edge of sanity. They get off on it. It's like, when you see film work with directors and they go, oh, this is the subject and we're just applying energy all over because some people come to Earth to manipulate matter. You are the artist. You are the clay. We're going to do this. Fuck off, you bunch of pretentious assholes. That's actually how you feel about the predominant, even the classiest, the most up high. It's like, okay, keep it. Fuck off. So it's like even the A-listers, you don't actually revere them or anything. No offence, it's for the. It's like, nah, off, 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 off. Stop listening to media. All of it just goes off. I don't even like even the briefest snippet of news up in my head now. Because it's like this cycloptic freaking program on a luge farm running. It's like somebody in the Isle of Sheppy. You hear it a few times, and it's like you're in no man's land walking around. There's all these kids on bikes, and they look a hella scary. They see a girl with a shaved head, and you go, oh, I feel fucking intimidating, scared now. I'm like an A-lister in the middle of nowhere, because I am a fucking A-lister. Do you know what I mean? There are some people that were born to be fucking A-listers. I am it. Because quite frankly, it's like you're just always being acted out upon and being impressed with all these shitty fucking attitudes. Robbing your phone, looking at this, robbing this. Look after my laptop, Laura. So I looked after it after doing MD. I put a coat on over it. I'm getting in a cab with you going to the next party, aren't you? Didn't you offer me to stay on the couch? So what part of me is trying to fucking rob a laptop, you fucking fraggles? Huh? And then they're in the pub, at the back of it, popping their ecstasy, and the security come over, you're going to have to leave because you look unhappy. Yeah, I'm a little bit. There's a bunch of tards over the back there. I did black out when I went out to a party with them, and I found myself waking up on a mattress on Old Kent Road, and there was a bunch of people around the table. It was really scary. Let's forget it. Oh, and that other time that I blacked out and I woke up in New Cross, and they were the same people present. Was I getting hypnosis? Who knows? Who fucking knows? Maybe it was just blackout memory, because that happens anyway. But yeah, so that's the nature of mixing. It's not worth it. Lock up your kids, parents, lock them up, because that place out there that I found wasn't too fucking hot, I tell you that much. And if I live in a place that's supposedly posh and you're putting me in sheltered accommodation where I just to get at a person, like you're a commodity, and that's just fucked up, isn't it? So you go through all that and you're still here, still standing, and the police in 2016 just compound it at Unity March by being absolute pigs and then giving you nerve damage in your thumbs for a year. Yeah, this is all true stories. This all happened. For not more once than just being a social creature and just trying to get on the stage, and public houses being what they are, the rots that they are. So it's like my mum still drinks in them. It's all like that. So we don't give a fuck anyway, do they? Even her mother still goes up to certain pub frequents that, clearly earmark people and share information. That one. Oh, sorry, I'm wiser now to it. I'm wiser. I don't actually drink out on my own anymore. That's the only difference in my local area. Or I'll go all the way to fucking Camden. Or I'll go anywhere all over the place just to just get out because I'm not going to go up there. Oh, it's all changed. It's all right. You're all right up there, Laura. Now it's all different people in there now. Is it? No, they're not, Mum. Mum, no, they're not. No, they're not. Get a fucking grip. When you're this person, you are an A-lister. You are what you are. Or your mum might sell you down the river as some sort of like hoe. I'm not sure. Maybe taking a child to pubs in a pram isn't a good idea. Maybe you're earmarked from an early age. I can't quite put my finger on it, but it's all very funky as fuck, isn't it, really? That's what it comes down to. And so you're still in the same position and you just feel like it does become a risk to just be walking down the riverfront there. Is it safe really in the middle of nowhere and no cameras around? Is this actually a prime little piece of ground ready to get its mitts on you? I'm not scared anyway because trained. But the point is dodgy. Dodgy, 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 get out of Dodge. And you go, yeah, my country, what has it done for you? Nothing. Even when you're like, and you're getting yourself a place in back in the day when you were a teenager, when you should have been the fresh meat, when you should have been 20, going to the fucking Bird's Nest when it had a theatre in it, and you were working in a theatre. That's what your designs were, and you're sending me to Orpington to look into making bird boxes instead, and then putting me in the paper. There's even a fucking article. I've got it around here somewhere. Me made a bird box. It's like you taking the piss out of people's lives. You want to do what you want to do at 20 and you're being sent there to make a bird box rather than be at the Bird's Nest with a theatre placement in a placement that you found for yourself. So not only do you misdirect people, send them on the wrong path, what else do you do? Like the first community play you do, no offence to the person that was the lead that I played opposite, now in hindsight, like, if you're giving people drugs, you're probably not the nicest person, is it really? It's going to send people off in misdirections. I'm not complaining, it's a blessed life, it's a beautiful life, but if you hadn't been with peers that were thus inclined, would you have done that? Would you have gone in that direction? Would you have been more focused at your access to theatricals? But your brain chemistry was a bit off key and you were more addicted to the idea of going raving, or the list goes on, because obviously substances are exciting when you do that. You might not be as focused on the theatre stuff that you could have done. You can write a biography about it. It's all heading. That's the nature of London these days. And when you go to places like Camden, you meet all the people. I go, oh yeah, they're just so vulnerable. Like, they're young and they're going to get exposed to drugs. And then everyone seems to have that jacking up on heroin story. So it's like everyone. I don't know why I'm making this video, but I'm just saying it's dodgy, and it's by design that it's this way inclined. It's because they'll either look after you or they won't, and then they'll just start acting like absolute arseholes. A place that you've drank in your whole life, and I've always kept down jobs. Worked at Sky. I was a lift engineer apprentice for my dad's firm for a while. I was a Sky engineer for a while. Then I was like G4S events at the O2. Then I was Circus du Soleil at the Dome doing stage management. I've had lots of jobs and I've always tried to keep my head together in job land. But then I gave up my badge last year because I was like, done. Had too many arrests. You arrest me in 2020, arrest me in 2021. You're causing an affront to my nature. You're making me angry. I need to go internally. I have to do Zen. I have to get coaches. I have to get techniques to take this anger out of my body and re-zen to myself, which I have done. I prioritise myself. Sorry, I'm not going to work on a door with an attitude problem, as they would probably prefer. Oh, you're one of us now. You've got an attitude problem, you're standing here. You're ready to just flip. That's how they like it. It's like people unhinged. That seems to be the theme in London anyway, as just writing a nice biography here of London. And when it comes down to, like I said, the Hive buildings and the BBC, come up with a brilliant brand as a result of it. Are we a community or are we not? Are we disenfranchised or are we franchised? Because like that person was in the back of that video I saw online, and then she was the one that was the neighbour that was allowing stuff to happen. Like, oh, take a drop of this, is going to make you fight. No, it knocked me out for what, a day. I don't know how long I was unconscious. Yeah. So that person in the back of that video, is she just an exploitative piece of shite? Anyway, I went upstairs, had a trauma experience. My eyes turned red. The whole of me turned red. It was actually blood moon time. And I looked in the mirror and I was like in some sort of shock state. And then I could hear the bitch laughing. Does she actually paid me? I heard her say. I said, yeah, I was just trying to keep it clean at the time. I'm very good at that. Just like blanking it and putting on a face at the time. And then the penny drops. And then you go, oh, now I've got true sense of everything that is. And it's the same as Molka Boy. You're fucking begging on your knees outside the bird's nest, so I know exactly what sort of venue that is and what sort of underbelly, shitbaggy, grim stuff fucking culture's going on around there. Yak. At least, like, and it's one of them ones, right? You sleep with someone once after knowing just for a brief time, and then you go, "Oh, that was awful. That was some sort of freak. What was that? Like a 1 second experience." And at least I ain't got to see that weirdo again. But then his best mate pretends to be interested in you, so it's by coercion that person's everywhere all of a sudden filming everything and everything. It's like the EastEnders storyline. I mean, do they rob all these storylines off people like me that just talk about it and aren't scared to talk about it? Should I become a? Do you want to pay me some money, BBC, for all the ideas I might potentially give you in fucking film scripts? Do you want to, you know what I mean? Some people are probably like, oh, let's get rid of this one rather than actually promote this one. I couldn't give a fuck. Forever in blue jeans, if it be so. If it gives somebody else a peace of mind to say that if you can go through all that shit and still be standing, then there's always like a way out to a higher ground, even though you've been forced to the point when you're waking up. The first thought that will go through your head is a sporadic suicidal thought. Like, that doesn't relate to me. That's not me. That was after being with somebody that did used to cut her own wrists. And they used to talk about suicide spots like it was normal. And somehow people revere people dark little characters more than they revere the light little characters, even though the dark little characters impress that person to the point after all that other stuff, and they're just waking up with that going through their head. It's all right, that's all right, I'll try and get over that. I'll just coach myself out of that dark spot. But I know there's other people that don't. And I'm very good at coaching myself. I'm very good at coaching myself out of that place so it will never return. Literally, harnessing a certain discipline internally is the best work ever on the planet that you can ever imagine doing. I've got the best career ever. It's all in me. All internal me now. I don't give a fuck about outside. I'll always be the richest person walking. I'm a billionaire mindset now. Like, you could, and that bloke that, anyway, getting back to that guy that's doing his little blogs, I understand. I hear him. He's just a happy person probably now. He's like proper zen and mastered. And it's like your family around you. I made a video earlier on my TikTok and you can see my mum the way they talk to me. You're a fucking idiot. Their energy is all off key for me. Just happened to coexist here with them. Had to give up that flat. Moral of the story, not that I used it much, but it was like I used it after that trauma experience. And it's very strange that no one's chasing me about it because they're all so linked in and they all know what's going on. Because they didn't chase, I don't owe them any money for that place. I don't owe them a sodding piece of money. It's like 2020, they said they sanctioned me, but they've got to stop paying me. So I owe them 30 grand. And then I sent the keys back in the post and just take the fucking thing. I don't want it. I'm not signing anything either. So I don't. And it's like, and then people trying to threaten you. Piss off. Piss off. Like, I don't know. Like, that's it. You're going to come to me for that trauma experience around there, are you? You want to do that? Anyway, in 2016, I obviously at the time was too depressed. When you really have to kick back, that's when you're the most depressed. I was like, oh, I really need help for that one. I didn't get the help for that one. 2016, I was just depressed. I spent 2 years depressed on account of assholes. And then I lost 2 family members in 2018, so that was a shame because I was really depressed and I didn't make the most of my own family. I was in a dark place. And so I think that deserves compensating. 2018, lost family members, whatever. And then I went to a festival in 2019 and met somebody that was absolute monstrosity with the new taglines and the new attitude to incestuous Britain. It's called tact. You don't kiss someone and kiss someone else. You monster. You fucking monster. Don't give a fuck if you're 14 years younger. You're a monster. And anyway, so yeah, apparently she supposedly reported me to the police for letters in the post. And they were really well thought out, respectfully placed letters, because I, even in that state of desperation, was still paying attention to the fact that she said she was in the mental health system and had anxiety. So they were very tactfully spaced out. If you didn't want them, you had many means to tell me to fuck off, because hiding behind a door is just a pussy old way of dealing with somebody that showed you no level of threat. But anyway, she was probably clearly very guilt complexed about what she was actually doing. So that's probably she employed the police, who, by the way, do have cocaine outfits around them. Obviously, I told you all about they're all cokeheads and shit. They're all fucking wrecked in plain clothes as well. Bunch of imposters. Who are those people flying around in blue lights anyway? Does anybody actually regulate them? Do the police actually regulate them? Or will you find they're a bunch of fucking preppy posh people snorting the sniff, acting of their own volition for other cultures like Filmland? Because when I met that bird at the festival, she asked for a lift home, and it was a police car coming through traffic and a controlled, seemingly, collision because a banged up Toyota just touched my van. And her taking the picture and then proceeding to slam the door in my face resulted in me losing the van and an inability to actually report that touch. Then it's like it was police responsibility anyway. So don't come chasing me for that. And was she a plant at a festival, is what I said. That is like just seemed to occur to me. And then a week later on the TV, Bart Simpson saying he wants a banged up Toyota, a used Toyota. And I just thought, that's very strange, isn't it? What's the universe trying to do? Very strange. You know, she slammed the door in my face as French person. So there was numerous reasons why I was keeping in contact, but it doesn't matter. Over and done with, don't even care. Go you, SPAC. Anyway, she said she used to use cocaine herself. So anyway, I'm aware that that does give people coke demons. And some of the information she may have been telling them was probably fantasist coke demons. Nobody's out to get you. Nobody was out your doorstep shouting. As God as my witness. And I think the letters that I was sending that were really nice, like with the occasional CD, how are you, would be contradictory to that if anyone had a brain cell in the police force. Anyway, they turned up at the door before I went to Venice, and my mum said, "Then police at the door." I said, "And that's probably something to do with not reporting the fucking van." So I did have an attitude to it and thought, "Fuck 'em. You fucking caused the fucking thing. It wasn't me, was it? And that fucking person that slammed the door in my face that caused the fucking thing, not me." So I had a bit of a disassociation from their presence on my door. Plus, I was actually a bit fearful that they weren't actually real police because, having worked in Filmland, I have this seemingly wild idea that the people on the set that actually have officially branded uniforms could actually portray them and be outside your door, and so you get all fear. The fear was high in this one at the time. It was like the more your mind gets like, what? Why was that? What was this? What was that around the corner? Why did I get gotten out there? Why are they threatening me and saying I owe them money when I don't? Why is that? Why are the police out there? So it's all like that, you know, when it's high octane, really like stress. So anyway, I went to Venice in 2020, and as you know, got arrested coming back because it was to protect a vulnerable adult. Her seemingly, that's their excuse they use that as, whether it's true or not. But at the time, it just felt like a bunch of cokeheads going mad all over me. It didn't feel like a professional police outfit. I was like, so okay, you've got plain clothes arresting me at the airport. Okay, it's during COVID. Oh, I'm not supposed to be scared whatsoever, am I? And then there's no solicitor present because it's COVID. What is this nonsense bullshit? Anyway, it's in Bexley Heath they took me to. And then seemingly left me on the wanted system for them to come and get me the following year. That's what they said on Bournemouth Beat front. And then it's like, what the fuck are you arresting me for? And it was like, at the time, I kept saying, Ryan, it sounds like there's something wrong with my phone because I can hear this click, 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 click down here. It's like there's somebody, I'm acutely aware that there's somebody listening to my shit the following year, 2021. Acutely aware of it, and they just appeared exactly the same time on the beach, at exactly the same time that my brothers picked me up. There was no coincidence. Oh, we saw you on a beachfront camera, you're wanted on a wanted system for blah, blah, blah. So they kept me in the cell for 24 hours down in Bournemouth. And then it's only after in there, they didn't tell me that at the time, It's just like, why are you arresting me? I'm fine. I'm not like, don't you think I'm handling myself well enough to be not considered a drunk? And they're like, yeah, so 24 hours, and they didn't actually tell me why I was down there. I'm like, I'm sober at that point. I remember everything. And they're like, no, the police come from London to get you because you're on a wanted system. That's why you're being arrested. We saw you on the camera. Right? Is that right? So they break the 24-hour rule, keep you in a cell for basically 48 hours in Bethnal Green. And then at that point, they're basically insulting you by calling you a retard. They call, oh, would you like appropriate adults with you? Okay, great fun. What's that for? I'm just an appropriate adult. You're not really. Why are you in here? You're like, is this some? What is this bullshit? Anyway, acutely aware also that there was fire marshals present. Fire marshal is something to do with crossover industrial, isn't it? You're the fire. Yay. Like, or maybe it's some sort of satanic cult thing I don't know about, but fire marshals also played a part in my meeting that horrendous Irish person. No offence to Irish people, they're generally lovely, but that was horrendous. I don't care. Horrendous. Until you've been manipulated by somebody that is just dealing in nothing but non fact. You cannot stand in these shoes and tell me that. Horrendous. Anyway, so he played a part in that because I think he might have actually paid her to talk to me at the time. Hey, boy, I was really talk to that one over there. Because a week or 2 weeks later, when she supposedly come back from Ireland, she turned up at my door with flowers. He was dropping her in the cab, and he got her up against the wall like that. So I said, "What the fuck are you doing with this? Why are you still talking to her?" Sort of. So maybe you know her from somewhere. Maybe she was a whore. Maybe she was a prostitute as well. Maybe she was a crackhead and a prostitute that I didn't know about. Maybe he was just booking her. Anyway, the George and Dragon, that was where I met her. Drank there my whole life as well, with my brother and his boyfriend and everything else. And then during that Fraggle Rock time when I was being gotten at by loads of people, it would felt like all of a sudden I wasn't allowed in there. This bird called Mandy. They like your face. Start doing that. But I drank here my whole life. I've never been a problem to this place. So what is that? So it's clicky. And all this whole dark, it was like a darkness surrounding a girl. And you're thinking, just this click. And I think you'll find they're not the class. So I don't, if you listen to the click, you by all means crack on with that. But very misguided if you do. Don't deal in drama myself. I'll just move on quick. It's like if something presents itself as a problem and has actually fucking violated my boundaries and then is intimidated by the fact they've violated my boundaries and the fact that I might talk about it, well then more for them. It's a lesson in not violating people's fucking boundaries. You haven't been in a courtroom for all the fucking wrongs you've done to me, everybody. And I'm not Jesus because I'm not pressing charges, but you're all a bunch of cunts. And if the police see fit to actually keep compounding anything with nonsense stories, fuck them. Oh, if you tried to get help from a solicitor, but you were drinking at the time, weren't you? Oh, okay, so right. So why do charges sheets say it's to protect? And why are you making up? So you're actually willingly admitting that your whole system's just making up nonsense tags for people. Is that what you're saying? You're saying if you're just because when I'm under the influence, because when you arrested me on Bournemouth beachfront, that it's because I was drinking at the time. And it's nothing to do with a wanted system. So then, therefore, you're telling me that you willingly broke the law and to have me in Bethnal Green for actually drinking on a beachfront in Bournemouth. Is that what you're telling me now? You get your fucking story straight because you're all talking shite. So basically, that's what this country is like now. They don't give a shit. There's no solicitors. When you look up solicitors on Google, none of them are even open. Half of them, like the pink owl thing down there on the lower road. That's not even. It's not even a. It's not even a solicitor's. So there's no justice. It just makes you feel more fearful and more fearful. And when you look at police and stuff, like the thing I showed about the Welsh people coming from Wales to walk around the Palestine thing, you're like, he's listening to this woman talking all these truths, and she's a really beautiful person, putting it nicely, worded it really nicely, and he's just looking through her. He's not even listening to it. He's all he can see is a pair of mouth moving. He's not all there. He's just like, I'm getting paid, but yeah. That's it. That's the sum total of that man, right? So I don't give people credit where it's due. Where it's not due. That's what people give people credit where it's not due, and they don't give people credit where it is due. That's crazy shit, isn't it? But that's the way it's been. It's been that way for a while. This is going into a long talk, so once I start talking, I can't stop. But there's even more. There's probably more to this story of bullshit. Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. On the week before, no, the day before. It was a couple of days before. Was it the day before? When I basically, one of part of that dirty little clique walked into the new crossing, and then all of a sudden I'm getting physically manhandled by a bouncer after these pricks said, "Oh, would you care to do another slot on the stage for us? Because someone hasn't turned up." So that was just like, that's the nature of them, clicky little bastards. "Oh, would you like to do another spot?" "Yeah, okay." So my guitar's in there, and then the security man, "So you can't come back in to get it, right?" He said, "Oh, you're not allowed to play the drum 1 minute after 12." And I started to play the drum. Yes, he said. I said, "Why can't? Why are you asking me to stop?" Anyway, he just physically picked me up and threw me across. And then he got, "Oh, Goldsmithians, little mugs. Yeah, clap, round of applause, bit of entertainment." But it's cliquey, whatever. And then you go, "Okay." Patting the man on the back. "I'd like my guitar back, please." "No, you're not coming back in. I want my guitar back, please." "Oh, so are you telling me that I have to call the police to get my own property back? Is that what you're saying?" Just mugging you off like that, Nigerian guy. I don't think you could talk English, really. I said, "Can I get your badge number? Because you're not supposed to physically handle people like that. You asked me to leave. You don't fucking put your hands on me." And then I called the police and I said, "Get his badge number." He won't give it to me. And they wrote it down wrong because obviously they're in each other's pockets, probably dealing the drugs there on the police there, you know. Anyway, that was the day before. So I was physically assaulted the day before I got the nerve damage in my thumbs. And I'm pretty sure that uni march is all linked in, and the police might even organise it. The Met on set, the Met were always up there filming the Crown and the Royal and stuff. And it's like, do they actually just say, "Oh, let's make one of these high octane marches"? Because after you watch the film, you understand why they might be a bit like psychotic about people that might attend, that don't have any idea what it's about. You just saw it on Facebook and saw the Green gathering people there and thought, "Oh, that'd be cool. I made some friends." Yeah. So you see what I'm saying? If they got the hands on you the day before, then it's like, "Oh yeah, look, information sharing." We harassed this one walking down the road. I wasn't even that drunk that day. I was just royally, really fucked off because it was 2016. I just split up with my girlfriend after 2 years. That was a friend for 2 years. That is probably part of the same clique, probably. And she just left, and I'm trying to make a go of it again in that area, and the Malka person knows the person that's just walked in, and you're all of it's compounded. You're reminded of all these clique of wank, and then it's like, oh, the police have just they ended up putting me in cuffs when I tried to get my guitar back because I said, "Give me what." I was like, they were like, "Calm down, shut your mouth, calm down, or we're gonna put." So anyway, they made a little show of putting me in cuffs, and I'm like, so all this happened. The blimp that walked in that could go into the blimp, but he's like the heavy man that people somehow, for some reason, respect. Fuck knows why. Because I put on a phony accent and I come from a country, supposedly, where I was a bad man. And I'm part of that man. And I'm part of the music scene. And everybody respect the blimp. It's like it was going back to Tupac days, and they were trying to make it like that. That little clique were trying to get all like that, and I'm like, I'm just a girl that's trying to get on. I don't know you. I've met you for 1 minute, and you've fucking ruined my sense of self and pride and shit by Molka linking in, sharing, doing shit, trying to darken a girl's name so she has got a leg to stand on if anything should happen to her. Exactly what they were doing. Very tactical and fucking manipulative and horrible. Walked into the bar. The police put me in cuffs. Do you know how fucking I was before being provoked by that police officer in 2016? By being provoked and threatened with kidnap off the street. Just mind my own way, being quiet. Nothing, not a word being spoken. Until that. And I went to court. And then got labelled with racist, religious, aggravated harassment in words and writing. Which apparently, that's what depressed me. Because I was like, I was just responding to provocation. And because solicitors are useless and don't give a fuck, you're not supposed to plead anything. You say, "No, I was guilty of nothing until that harassed me, provoked me." And so everything that I said in the cage whilst getting the nerve damage about them being perverted, once again, cunts for allowing somebody to suffer pain. Take your fucking perversion to a sex club, you bunch of ZUNDs. I did say a lot, I know, but I meant it all. I meant it all because this is one party non-consenting bondage. What the fuck am I doing in occasion of person? Why was he in custody for 24 hours and why did he even go to fucking court? I tell you why. Because everybody knows everybody. And it's not professionalism, it's fucking crossover lands. And if you can't get a solicitor to represent you because they're all too pussy-holish, they've probably all been bought out. There probably aren't even any art solicitors left. The BBC probably pays them all off and probably wants to pick people off. Because if you're not part of the sexploitation agenda or you're not part of the fresh meat, we're all like that. And then they're just employing poster girls for incest Britain to just get at you and you're too scared to even contact because apparently she was the victim of a groomer gang, exploited when she was a teenager, but now she's working for the criminal aspect that is pretending and posing as what it's not. Basically, they're facilitating people to just be whatever. You got people on that spectrum. You got modest people. You got nuns. You got people that basically are getting everything so they don't get pregnant, and that means cutting off your menstrual cycles and just basically being synthetic human. And so it's like if you can't compete with the synthetic people that can have unprotected sex all day long and it doesn't matter, then that's the favourite, by the way. Incest Britain's the favourite, and the strong powerful woman don't get nowhere thus far. That's fucking far. But if you get me somewhere, I'll give her all the money or the types of people that have been exploited and put in positions of disempowerment within mental health systems that have lost their way entirely. Because it doesn't, if you're on medication but you're still acting like somebody that is reckless, it kind of defeats the object, right? I'm sedate and happy with the fact that I'm risking my self by going home with just about anyone. And if you're going to go home with just about me, I said I will have the capability to love you all the way home. And I'd like to love the woman all the way home and save the woman if there's potentially something there that's amiss. Which, as far as I'm concerned, it's basically, as I said, like being a prisoner in a prison, in a prison. And until you lavish the money on the person that needs it the most, i.e., me, with my philanthropic ideas and brand, not just for that one demographic. Like I said, it goes on and on, the demographic that you need to actually save. You actually have to break the person's shackles and present them with a different option, because what they're actually in is a absolutely torturous, desperate situation on some levels. They probably don't want the dreams that they once upon a time had that involved 3 years in the best drama schools like Italia Conti or Brit School. They don't want them anymore. They've been ruined. Make no mistake. That's why I didn't bother. Why the fuck are you gonna spend 3 years fucking getting in debt, fucking just to be treated the way other people have been treated? I'm glad I said fuck off to being a fucking ape in Commedia dell'arte at 19 because it's a bit immature and I've fucking spent enough time being a fucking tree and an ape at primary school. Thanks. So yeah, that's my take on everything that is and mental health. And there's so many techniques. I was studying Eckhart Tolle when I was a teenager because I somehow figured out I'd probably fucking need it, given the nature of my own mind at the time. The fact that I'd already sought the advice of the therapist for the mass anxiety attacks that I was having. So I was like, okay, I'm gonna need this shit. So I've been zenning it out and working my way through the jungle ever since, and meeting a lot of people that need the career aid and stuff. And I'm gonna make a film called Celestial Pool. I'm gonna make it. I'm gonna direct it, and I'm gonna have a prototype van on the street level called Celestial Pool, and it's going to have a beautiful little donation point where you can throw money at it, like literally like a basketball net, and advertising space, and it's going to be fun, and it's tying in the community, the ones that might want to offer people better options than being exploited by rackets around and certain cliques around that really have been doing their fucking worst, mate. And if it's not bad enough that they're doing their worst, it's the fact that the police enjoy others' suffrage and get off on joining the cliques these days. The police, and sorry, even Stormzy, I turn you off, mate, because you were riding around in a police car and I don't get it. I don't think you've ever seen Snoop Dogg doing that. I think he's got a better idea. Thank God for fucking Snoop Dogg. At least he's come over to this country and he can sort people out. Why'd you ever put yourself in a police car riding around like you're part of the police? Oh, yeah, because you might be. And you might stand for the cliques and the agendas that suppress strong women. You might just be that person. And the figurehead that they choose to put above people that are a bit younger and less experienced, no offence to Kate Tempest, they're giving her a synthetic dick and stuff. I like being a woman. I've got a pair of tits and a vagina and an opinion. And I like mohawks. And I like eating pussy. What do you know about eating pussy? I tell you, the Dev, a lot. A lot, mate. But there's cliques around that just want your demise, your downfall, because it's like that. Cannibal kids, when there's one finger pointing, there's three pointing back. Never trust the institute's choice, first choice. Oh, I'm so happy that I'm being delayed. Thank you for listening. But it's not safe out there for me, man.